Hello, everyone. Hello, you can just react wherever you are. Hello, everyone. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yes. So, good evening to you all, and welcome to today's business and also entrepreneurship webinar. So, first, I would like to sincerely thank everyone for joining today's webinar. So we truly appreciate you taking time to be here and also invest in yourself. Before we dive into today's webinar, I would like to say something small about S-Tartex Group. At S-Tartex Group, we believe that every young person has the potential, idea, and ability to create change. The reason we started this journey. So it's because we have realized that many young people have great dreams, but sometimes they lack access to right skills, guidance, and also opportunity to bring those dreams to life. So that's why we started S-Tartex Academy, to create a platform where young people can learn, connect, build confidence, and also develop practical skills in technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So today's session is more than a webinar. So it is a chance to learn from experts and also exchange idea and connect with people who are also passionate about growth and creating impact. So I encourage everyone and each one of us here to be active, ask questions, share your thoughts, and take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you very much. You are all welcome, and let's have a great session. So back to our instructor of the day. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. I hope all you are doing well, and welcome to our webinar. I welcome you, and we are grateful that you were able to join. Today's topic is, why do some small businesses fail and how can you avoid it? And I will expect every one of you to have a notebook, to have a place to write. And if you have any question, please write it down. We will have time to answer all your questions. And in case you encounter any issue, please don't hesitate to write in the chat. One of our team members will attend to you. I will first start with introducing myself. I'm Vanessa Kasoki Tsongo. I'm Congolese. I did my Bachelor of Business Administration at Uganda Christian University. I finished in 2024. And I just finished my master's degree in London at the University of West London. My master's degree was in finance and accounting, and I'm preparing my PhD research in financial literacy. I'm so much passionate about finance and anything business related. That's why I'm your instructor today for this webinar. And we also have another course for entrepreneurship and business. And that course will take almost 6 weeks, and we expect that by the time we finish this webinar, you will have enough knowledge and maybe having the curiosity to our course. We will provide all the detail at the end of this session. I believe most of us have encountered issues about businesses, and a lot of businesses have failed. Or maybe you had an idea that you thought you will start, but you couldn't start it. Or maybe your neighbor started a short business and you were not able to see it being sustained. And in today's session, we are going to cover the reasons why a lot of businesses fail and how can you avoid those things. And we all know that to build a strong foundation, you need to put in place different ingredients. not one ingredient is enough to build something. You need multiple things to put together to build something strong. And we will talk about the 7 foundations that are needed to build a strong foundation, to be able to maintain a business, to manage it well, and to expand it to be able to fulfill your vision. So the first business foundation is about the business idea. What we believe is, what is known, not only our belief, is that business idea is not enough, or just knowing where money is made, because you can follow some podcast, or you can hear people will tell you there is business idea maybe in real estate, or you can easily be successful in farming, or you can be successful in transport. However, few people will tell you how do we make money in that industry. That is where a lot of people find themselves. You assume you have an idea. How can you start a business? And you will be so much excited to start something without actually being curious to find out how is money made. Because you can have money and want to do something. You can, maybe let's take an example, like I have £20,000 and you want to start in real estate, right? But if you don't know how money is made, how will you be able to sustain something? And that is the biggest mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make. Without having that curiosity, they will always find themselves going bankrupt or not spending money wisely. And the second foundation is about the customers. Why do we say that customers buy solution, and how is it a foundation for a successful business? Because as an entrepreneur, you need to solve an issue. We are not only starting a business to make money. If you want to be a real entrepreneur, you don't just wake up and want to do something in your environment without trying to know the solution that you are bringing to customers. No one goes to a supermarket and want to buy toothpaste just as a decoration. No, you need to buy toothpaste because you want to brush your teeth. So before you start anything, don't just limit yourself to an idea that you got. No. Try to find out what is the problem that I'm solving. What is the solution that I'm selling? Because customers will always buy the solution. And the third foundation is about sales. Sales will never guarantee a profit. They will never guarantee profit. And a lot of businesses fail because when they are receiving revenue, they assume that they are making profit. But to be honest, you may see some customers coming. How many times have you seen someone starting a business and they are receiving customers? They come, they buy, but after the first 6 months, the business just goes bankrupt, or there is nothing left because they didn't have time to structure the cost. And those are the reasons why a lot of businesses fail. But for you to be able to know how can you avoid that failure, how can you avoid your business to go bankrupt, you need to structure your cost. And those are things that, all the points that we have mentioned, those are things that we will dig deeper, we will explain more during our entrepreneurship course, so that by the time you finish the course, you are able to structure the cost for your business. You know how to make strategic pricing. How can you make your price? Are you making price for your customers? Is it also beneficial to your business? How about your competitors? Those are things that we will touch during our course, but it is always so important as an entrepreneur to be mindful of these specific foundations. And you also have to know what is net profit margin. How can you draw the line? How can you put everything in place? Also about the cash flow management, because some people may start to make the cost or the pricing, but if you don't know the cash flow management, you may find yourself ending up without employees. For example, have you seen some people, they start a business, you make some people pay, or maybe you have encountered such things. You see someone they tell you that our boss is not able to pay us, but we were making sales or we were having customers. How come is he not able to pay us salary? Because it is another thing to make sales and another thing to be able to pay your employees with profit, and the profit will be made with cash. So that is something that an entrepreneur should be able to put in place and have skills about, so that you can be able to maintain your business. And another foundation is about money, like the direction of your money. I know if I ask you now, can I give you 20,000 pounds and you will be successful? A lot of people will say, yes, I will be successful, but it is another thing to have money and also another to be able to manage the money. So when you have money, you still need a direction. How will you manage the money? Because some people may receive money from investors, right? You can have money from investor, or your family supports you, or someone else will just be able to give you money to start a business. But at the end of the day, you find yourself with no cash and the business can't keep going. Why? Because you didn't have direction for your money. And during our entrepreneur course, we will teach you how can you structure your budget. Budgeting is something that will help you how to direct your money, which is a skill that is so important as an entrepreneur, because you will have time to structure, how will I spend this money? What amount of money do I need for operation? What amount of money do I need to pay my employees and all of those things? And when you make your budget, you also need an actual spending where you will be able to balance. Did you spend like overspending, underspending, or are you in your budget? Those are things that we will be touching in our entrepreneurship course, in case you sign in with us, and we provide all the details. And another part that is so important is about borrowing wisely. A lot of businesses fail because they don't know which loan they should take and the ones they should avoid. You need to know the terms. You have to know, can my business be able to repay back my loan? Am I able to meet all the requirements? Because if you take a loan and you are not able to maintain your business, or you are not able to pay it back, that is a biggest issue, and you will see the business disappear. So this is something that's so important as an entrepreneur, to know how best can you take a loan. And another part is also investing capital, because we acknowledge that when you are doing your business, at the end of the day, you expect to have profit. That is another thing that an entrepreneur should know. How can you reinvest your profit? Because some people, they believe by the time I'm starting my business, I'm having profit and that is all. No. The biggest companies don't just receive profit and start spending it anyhow. You also need skill and wisdom. How can you reinvest it to have more and to make your money work for you as you are still maintaining your primal business? And these are the things that we will dig deeper in our entrepreneurship course. Yeah. And the fifth foundation is about growth. Growth is not accidental. You will not just sit and believe that by the time you start a business, you fold your hand, growth will just happen the next day. No, you still need strategies to be put in place, because as we live in this world, the world is evolving. New things are coming in. The need of customers are changing. The way we talked about our second foundation, how customers buy solution. So if you believe that it will happen accidental to always meet the need of the customer and just to grow, that is impossible. And that is why a lot of businesses fail, because they forget that you still need strategies in place to be able to accelerate your growth. And part of the growth, you need branding. Branding should be in place to create an identity in people's mind. For example, we talk about Apple. When you hear Apple, everyone has their own image about Apple. How is it? When you hear iPhone or you see iPad, they created a specific identity in people's mind. Yes, it's expensive, they wish to make it expensive because of the value it offers. As an entrepreneur, when you start a business, you define the value, that's like the image that will come to people's mind as they hear your product or as they hear your brand or your business. And the biggest mistake that people make, they believe that branding is just a logo, or it's just a color, or it's just a sentence. No, branding is identity. It contains values. It contains the picture. It's really a mixture of a lot of things that should be put in place so that it can be something that will represent you even when you are not around. Even at the mention of the name of your product, everyone will have a picture of what you are offering to them. And during our entrepreneurship course, we will still go deeper in how can you make your branding good and successful and catchy to your customers or your targeted audience. And the second part is also partnership. You always need partnership to grow. There is no such thing as building alone. You will always know or learn how to partner with others, how to expand, how can you have a new distribution channel. And when people or someone start a small business and they want to put everything in place, but they want to do it alone, that is where failure comes, because we are always someone because somebody helped us. We always need to partner with other people. And our course will also dig deeper. When you come and start with us, we will go deeper. What are the type of partnership? How can you best work with people and how to choose the people to work with? And we also talk about leadership, about the team, the delegation of operations. We understand that you will never build alone and you will need people to delegate power to. However, the reason why a lot of businesses fail is because they don't know the exact type of people they should work with. As an entrepreneur, you have a vision, you have something you need to solve, you have something you want to bring to the world. And if you hire people who don't understand your vision, who maybe don't share the same value, or maybe people who will not respect the culture of your company, that is the biggest issue. And if you hire such people, I'm telling you, failure will always happen, because when two people have different minds, there will always be a friction and they will not offer you the best of themselves. So it is something that is so important to go deeper to understand what are the people that you should hire. And the last part about the fifth foundation is about continuous improvement. This is a mindset that's so important as an entrepreneur because the world is changing. We have technology, we have new needs coming in. So as an entrepreneur, you should always be willing to bring in something new. For example, we all know Nokia. Nokia was the leading in the technology, phones and everything. However, now other brands seems to take over, because I will not give it as my specific, this is the truth, but based on my observation, I may assume that they didn't catch up quick with the new technology, how the world changed quickly. So as an entrepreneur, if you want to be the person leading in that industry, you must always be willing to bring in something new, to improve, to find out what is the new thing that I should add in my business, what is the new need coming in, what are the complaints from the customers, what are the things that the customers are inquiring, or what they are asking we should add. So you should be willing to receive, even when people criticize you, or when you are talking to your friend, the comment they give you, always be willing to receive. The reason why a lot of businesses fail is because people are so much in their ego. They are not willing to listen, or you feel like you are the best. Yes, you may be the best, but another person may rise and higher than you. So if you are so much in your ego and you are not willing to improve, that is the biggest risk. So as an entrepreneur, you should be humble enough and always be willing to learn, to teach yourself, and to be able to serve others. And the fifth foundation is about mastering accounting. Accounting is a very important part of a business. Yes, we know as you keep building your business, when it's big, you will need to hire people who will help you as an accountant. However, you still need to have some skills to keep your books, because if you don't have the books, like the recording, it will still influence your business, and your business may fail if people maybe are not able to invest in your business. You may need loan, the way we talked about borrowing wisely. You may need investors. So if you don't have proper book recording, you will always have issues in how to present your business. And that is the reason why some people even mishandle their money, because they don't have proper bookkeeping, right? And as like the way I mentioned, we have an entrepreneurship course. We will teach more about the cycle of accounting, and the first is to identify or analyze your transaction. And during that phase, it's when, for example, you sell, maybe you have different transactions for selling. Maybe if you have a product, let's say you are selling pancakes. Let's assume that pancakes, yeah. So when you are selling pancakes, you should be able to see your transaction or invoice and be able to identify this is a financial transaction. A financial transaction is every transaction that requires money, right? So you have to collect your receipt, you collect your invoice, you are identifying a financial transaction. And the second phase is about recording. That's when you have to record in your journal entry. You record your sales, you record your bank transfer, you record all that transaction, all the financial transaction that you had. After recording, as you are recording your transaction, you need to respect the double entry rules. We will dig deeper into that in our entrepreneurship course. Double entry rule is just credit and debit, and you will know like when asset increase. Assets is something that when you receive, you expect future benefits. Liability is a responsibility. For example, in a business, a machine, or maybe in a transportation business, a car is like an asset because you expect future benefit. But for in other businesses, maybe a car may be a liability. For example, if you have to give cars to your employee, but the cars are not helping to build the business, to pay those liability like expenses, it's like a responsibility that you have to keep paying, obligation. Even a loan, it is a liability because you have to keep paying an obligation. But it can still, a building can still be an asset because you have a building to help you in your daily operations and you expect to have benefit from it. Right? So as you record, you have to acknowledge, is this an asset? Am I doing debit or credit? So we'll dig deeper into that. And the third part is also classifying. That's when you have to make the general ledger account. We always call it T account. That's when you have now to specialize. Is this cash? Is this sale? Is this receivable? Is this payables? And we will teach you more about how can you classify all of those things so you can be able to tell how is your business moving forward, right? And the fifth phase of the cycle of accounting is to prepare the statement. Statement is a report. Those are the most important. Actually, these 3 points we talked about is something that is in place to be able to reach on the statement. It's something that you present to make decision. You can use it for internal use. Internal use is something you do in your business, or for external use is a decision that should be made by people from like outside. It can be the lenders or investors. So we will talk about it's also like you prepare the income statement. Income statement is the one that has your profit, revenue. You will tell, are you making profit? Are you making loss? How can you reduce on your costs and those things? In our entrepreneurship course, we will teach you how can you make a financial statement, income statement, or balance sheet. The balance sheet represent the health of your business. It has your asset. I gave you an example of asset. It has your liabilities, and you can tell, is my business functioning more on asset, on asset, or is it functioning more on liability, or like, do you have your own equity, or are you functioning more on loans? You see, like all those things will be mentioned in your balance sheet. Balance sheet is a name that was before, but nowadays they call it statement of financial position because it shows the position of your business. And another statement that we talk about is cash flow. That one only record the cash. No transaction that didn't require actual cash will not be recorded. Only a transaction that showed cash, because the cash flow statement helps you to know, do I have enough cash to pay my employee? Do I have enough cash maybe to pay my rent? Do I have enough cash to make any transaction that requires actual cash? It's so important, and we will teach you in our entrepreneurship course how to make all of those. Yeah. And actually, the biggest we have 5 numbers of report. We have balance sheet, income statement, cash flow. We also have statement of equity. Also we have other notes, but those are more for people who want to go deeper in advanced accounting. But for someone who is starting a small businesses, these 3 reports are important, and it's advisable that an entrepreneur should at least have few skills to be able to do this, because if you don't know this, it will always complicate you and it can affect your business. And the last part is about review and use. That is when you have to make the decision. How am I going to move forward after what my report have shown? And this is the importance of the use, or the importance of your financial report. And the last foundation, but not least, is about building a business that lasts, right? Because as you start something, you always expect your business to grow. You always expect it to last longer. And for it to last, you still need to put some things in place. You still need to know, how can you sustain a business? How can you expand it? This is when we look at like new market. How can you create a new market? If you have always dreamed to make it global, how can you franchise or giving licenses? How can you partner with different people? These are specific things that as an entrepreneur you should be well knowledgeable about, because if you want to expand but you don't know how to do it, it will always frustrate your expansion, or it will affect your plan of growth, right? And another part which is important is about mentorship and advisory. We always want someone to guide us, to advise us. However, the biggest issue, or something that we make as entrepreneur, and it is a mistake, is just to choose someone because you admire them. You may look at someone, and for example, you may look at me. If I have a business and it's big, you want, like, Vanessa, I want you to be my mentor. However, you, as an entrepreneur, you should have the specific questions that you want me to answer. If you only follow my path and you want to do everything that I'm doing, it may not necessarily answer to your need. It may not necessarily answer to how your work should be. So yes, you may admire someone, but you must also have specific things that you want to receive from them. You should also know their value, and it should never be limited from there. As an entrepreneur, you should be someone who is willing to serve, right? So in our entrepreneurship course, we will teach you how can you approach a mentor, someone that you want them to be your mentor, but how can you define that they are good for you, and how can you serve them? Because service is so important. As you are serving them, maybe, just maybe, the service you are giving to them may open for you doors that your CV may never open. So this is a specific point. It's something that as an entrepreneur, you should be more cautious of it. Also, the last part is about exit, or how can you transfer your business. We will never tell you that when you are starting a business, you should immediately think about selling it or exit the market. No. However, we know that it's so important to touch this point, because as things keep changing, as opportunities come in, you will still have to exit. And you have to know how can you sell your business, or how can you transfer your business to someone else while making sure that it maintains its vision, or with value, not selling it cheap, less than what you have invested into it. So that is another point that we touch during our entrepreneurship course. So I touch all the 7 foundation. Then this part, I'm going to present to you the 4 major parts that we will teach during our entrepreneurship and business course. And the first part is about entrepreneurship. We will teach you how can you find opportunities, business ideas, how can you create values. We talked about customers, how they only buy solutions. So we teach you how can you tell that this business is having value, how can you create value. We will also teach you how can you manage risk, also the growth mindset that an entrepreneur should have. The second part is about business management. We talk about marketing. A lot of people don't know the difference between marketing and advertisement. So we will dig deeper to teach you how can you differentiate both and where does the other one fall into the other. We will also teach you about branding. I mentioned branding, how it doesn't only limit on logo or color. It is deeper. It's the identity that you create in people's mind. We'll also talk about leadership. How can you lead? How can you delegate power? We talk about strategic partnership, expansion, and exit. The third part, we talk about financial mastery. We talk about capital structure. How can you structure your capital? Are you much functioning on equity, on loans, and all of those things? We touch on them. How to borrow wisely, budgeting, value pricing, and break-even analysis. Break-even analysis is just is about your cost and the pricing, where you want to balance. It is a level where when you sell your product, there is no loss or there is no profit. It's just the middle point. If you made your product and you spend maybe £10 or 10,000 Ugandan shillings, and you sell it at 10,000 Ugandan shillings, it's a break-even point, where you don't have loss or you don't have profit. So we will talk about the break-even analysis. How can you analyze all of those parts? And the fourth part, which will be last during our entrepreneurship course, it's about accounting essentials. We talk about accounting equation, and during our entrepreneurship course, we will tell you how can you balance, how does asset and liability they balance in the accounting equation. We also talk about the full accounting cycle, the one I mentioned. We talked about the financial statement. That is when we will teach you how can you make all the financial statements, and we will have exercises where you go and you make your financial statement, and some of you will come and present to us. And we will also have practical exercises of, like, we will have case studies or a specific business and their transactions, so we can be able to start from the beginning to the end. So by the time you go back and start your business, you will have a practical exercise on how best you can manage your business and make it sustainable. Yeah, so don't miss out. In case you have any question or you want to reach out, you can email us. We'll give you more information and we can answer any question. So we'll be waiting for you. Yeah, thank you so much. This is the QR code. As we are asking your question, you can scan the QR code, or if you have difficulties in scanning the QR code, you can text in the chat. One of our team members will answer you. In this QR code, you will access your certificate for joining this webinar. So this webinar is more like it's free but you have access to a certificate, which is an advantage. Yeah. So thank you so much. You will have your certificate and you will sign in for our entrepreneurship course, and we will communicate further. When are we going to start our entrepreneurship course? Thank you. And you can ask any question. I will be there to answer you or one of my team member. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Those are good questions. If it's difficult to ask, you can type on the chat, reply to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zipporah. I see your message. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining. And I see the message for Aprachum. So at the end of this course, thank you. At the end of the entrepreneurship course, you will be, okay, I don't know if the question is much about the webinar, but for this webinar, you will have a certificate for, like, the topic will be why the small businesses fail. So it will be for the only for the webinar. But if you want to sign in for our entrepreneurship course, you will have another certificate for business and entrepreneurship essentials. Yeah. So it's two different certificates, but I don't know if you were like relating to the webinar or the course. Yeah. Thank you. I hope I answered your question. For James, I see your question about how can one able prepare adequately for a business proposal idea for a competition. Thanks. Oh, okay. About the proposal, now we may not be able, because it is a long process, now we may not be able to give you all the steps. However, if you sign in for our entrepreneurship course, we will provide all the details. We will also teach you how to make a business proposal. Or if you have other needs, we will still attend to them as long as it still stay in the framework of business or entrepreneurship. Thank you. I hope you have the details, or in case you don't have any detail, you can mention it. One of our team will text in the chat group and provide to you all the contact to be able to join the entrepreneurship course. Thank you. Oh, Aprachum. Yeah, the entrepreneurship course, the certificate will be to certify that you indeed participated in that business and entrepreneurship essential course. Yeah. So it's much on, for example, when you do any course at uni or any short course, you will always have a certificate to certify that you participated. It's the same thing as our short course, that we will give you the same certificate. I hope I answered your question. And the certificate will be verified, if that is also main of your concern, to find out, will the certificate be verified